the type A, type B personality usually refers to stress. So the type A personality is generally your stressed person who's a perfectionist, who's goal-directed, who is competitive, must win. Your type B personality is your more relaxed person who is more the person comes first, the task comes second, whereas the A type, the task comes first, the person comes second. Teasing usually goes into bullying, and bullying is a big problem in our schools worldwide. In fact, 7 years ago, Britain declared bullying in schools a national emergency. So bullying in schools is the #1 factor for suicides under 13 years old. So schools need to be very careful about controlling bullying. And obviously the bully needs help because he's an aggressive child, and the victim needs help because they generally are submissive children. And what you really want to bring them both to be assertive children. That's the emotionally intelligent middle path, being assertive, not aggressive or submissive. You know, I get many mothers who say to me, can't we stop exams? And I say, why do you want to stop exams? Because my child gets anxious over exams, you know. I say, if your child didn't get anxious, he wouldn't study. And most parents think anxiety is a psychological problem, and it's not. Anxiety is a logical response to a real threat. Now, I'm not talking about a panic attack, an anxiety attack, but anxiety, normal anxiety, is a logical response to a real threat. And then we do something about it. We teach our children to be anxious. If we didn't teach our children to be anxious about traffic, they'd run across the road and get killed. We even have to teach them not to go off with strangers. So we teach our children to be anxious. So anxiety is not a psychological problem. When does it become a problem? When you move from being anxious to being neurotic. Let's take an example. Living in Gauteng, you go to bed at night, you lock your door, you put your burglar alarm on. Have you got a psychological problem? No, you'd have a psychological problem if you didn't do that, living in. So you lock the door, you put the alarm on, you go to bed. Now that's anxiety, and you've made a logical response. It becomes neurotic if you get up 10 times to make sure you lock the door. You see? So now you've moved from anxiety to neurosis. Then it can get worse. You can become paranoid. You lock the door, you put the burglar alarm on, then you get up 10 times to make sure you lock the door, and then the 10th time you say to your wife, what about those little green men from Mars? Can't they come through the burglar bars? Now you are paranoid, and it can get worse. You can be psychotic. Psychotic is when you actually see the little green men coming through the burglar bars, you see. You've seen visions. So there are degrees. And I'm saying anxiety, you're anxious about something, then you make a logical response, but it's not a psychological problem. Relaxation. We need to see that our children have time for relaxation, and sometimes schools are giving far too much homework to young children. There are definite standards about how much time children should spend doing homework, and most schools are giving too much homework, and some schools are giving too little homework. And children need time to relax, adults need time to relax, parents need time to relax. And that's got to be planned for in the family, that you do have time to relax. And parents must make sure about that, the children have time to relax. And if the schools are giving too much homework, parents should go to see the principal, the teacher, to discuss the issue, because children need time to relax. The major thing is that you need to accept your child for what he or she is unconditionally. Don't have conditions on your love. And the two things parents have got to concentrate on. The child must know they are loved, and they must know that they are okay, that they are adequate. And the parents have got to push that. And unfortunately, good parents like ourselves, we tend to be very ambitious for our children, which is not a bad thing in itself, but in our ambition we tend to choose their goals for them, and then it leads to a misinterpretation. So for instance, a child is born, the father is born a boy, the father makes a decision about his career. I've got a boy, he must become a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer. Whether he wants to or not, if it's a girl, she's just sure about her future. She must marry a doctor, a dentist, or a lawyer. And so the parents choose a goal, push their children to meet their goal. The child doesn't want to get that goal, and it's very difficult to be motivated to work for someone else's goals. And because they don't meet the goal, there's disappointment on the side of the parents, and the child feels a lack of esteem. So I say encourage your children to choose their own goals. Let them know that your role bringing them up is to create the facilities for them to be what they want to be. Their role is to do something about being what they want to be. So don't push children into goals. And spend a lot of time with your children. Don't buy the nonsense that 10 minutes quality time once a week is good enough. You need to spend a lot of time with children so that they know they are loved and they know they are adequate. Even when you're disciplining, discipline positively. There's a world of difference between saying, "You dirty pig, you make me sick, tidy up this pigsty." That is obviously emotionally destructive. You can express anger as long as you own the anger. "I'm angry. I asked you to tidy up your room 10 minutes ago. I want this room tidied up now, please." I messages are usually positive. You messages are almost destructive. So watch yourself. Whenever you're on the course of you tend to be damaging the child's self-image.